We are officially recording this session. For those of you who just joined, again, Naomi Pollock. I'm one of the managers in the Career Hub, and I am here to talk to you today about career fair preparation. So what are we going to dive into today during this workshop? We want to make sure that we talk about your purpose for attending a career fair, making sure that you're aware of that purpose, and we've made space for you to think about that so that you're preparing the best that you can. From there, we're going to talk about preparing your resume and your handshake profile. So both of those things are up to date and accurate. And those are reference points really to getting that interview. Next, we'll look at researching employers and preparing those questions to ask them in a career fair experience. We'll spend some time thinking about your elevator pitch when you do approach an employer. And then we'll get into the nitty-gritty details for day of. So we'll talk about your career attire that you would wear that day, your career fair day experience, and what you want to make sure that you're prepared for going into that. We'll talk about your post-fair follow-up because that is also super important. And then we'll do a walkthrough of Handshake just so that you all know how to register for the fair. And I'll open with a Q&A then at the end. I am going to hold questions until the end, but feel free to put those right in the chat. As I mentioned, Deanna Simmons on my team is here. She's helping me to field those inquiries in the chat. She's also going to pop some links into the chat throughout the presentation for you all. But feel free as a question arises to put it there, and she'll make sure that I get that in front of me at the end of the presentation. Thank you, Deanna. All right. So heading forward, what is your purpose for attending the career fair? This is something you really want to think about because it's going to help you to really focus in on, here are my intentions, and I'm going to be really mindful of those throughout this entire experience. So sometimes we have students go to the career fair, they're not seeking opportunities at that time, and that's okay. A career fair can really be about career exploration and, determining, hey, this is the industry I'm interested in. I just want to make some industry connections, see what type of opportunities exist in that industry, what those job postings look like, what keywords I should be looking out for, key skills. So using that time to explore and ask some exploratory questions of those employers that you encounter. The obvious is seeking jobs and internship opportunities, right? So if you're seeking, this is a great place to go. Career fairs are seen by employers as what they call hiring events. So they come to these events with their current opportunities in hand, ready to discuss those opportunities, ready to share what next steps would be if you have interest in them. And so it's really important that if you are seeking, this is a great place to stop by. For those of you who may have a program that requires internship, some of our programs do, like if you're in marketing or culinary, just to name a few, you may have an internship that's required your last semester of your program. However, do not wait to that last semester to seek your internship. Most companies are looking 1 to 2 semesters out to find that next intern. And so for you, if you're really like, hey, I know exactly where I want to go, you want to be thinking that far ahead, especially for some of the larger companies in Milwaukee. I know one that comes up often, just to share that out, would be like a Northwestern Mutual. They're usually looking 2 semesters out for their internship program. So if you're thinking, I want to intern there in the summer, you should be going to a fall fair that prior fall. Certainly there will be opportunities that, like for summer internships at this upcoming spring fair, that you can still see. But again, you have the most robust opportunity if you're looking those 2 semesters out and starting to plan in advance. Another reason you might be attending the career fair is to practice your professional introductions. Certainly, if you have a dream employer, a dream job, you don't want your first time engaging in this type of experience with that employer being the first time you've ever done it. You want to have some practice. So this could be a good thing to just go around, and even companies you've never heard of, practice having those professional introductions to one another. We'll be practicing elevator pitch later, but that's really what you want to go around and practice, sharpen that up. And then when you feel confident, now approach that dream employer for you. And now you have that practice under your belt, and you can feel really comfortable in that experience. And then lastly, networking and making professional connections is a great reason to attend the career fair. You want to make sure that you do have a network. Nowadays, a lot of jobs you get through word of mouth. Personally, I've gotten my last 3 jobs through word of mouth. And so it's really important that you meet other professionals. You can connect with them on LinkedIn if you have a LinkedIn account, and then remain connected so that if something comes up at that organization, now you have a personal contact there that you can reach out to and let them know about your interest. Ask them if you can talk a little bit more about the position and get some insights from them. So those are all purposes for attending. So what do you need to have along with you to prepare for the day? It's really important that for a career fair that you have updated your resume and your handshake profile. So a well-written resume, our entire team will say this catchphrase if you meet with any of us, your well-written resume is your ticket to the interview. So if you do not focus on writing that resume and making sure that it is ready to go, you may not get that opportunity. So it's really important that you look at our resume packet. Deanna's going to put that into our chat if you haven't done so. It's going to be a great guide. On page 6 and 7, there are actual resume templates you can use to make sure it's formatted the way it should be. And we do have a resume workshop coming up next week, Thursday in M612 that Deanna Simmons will be leading to walk through resume preparation, and we'll offer on-site resume reviews at that workshop. It's from noon to 1:30 next week, Thursday. And again, we can share the link at the end of this presentation to register for that if you're interested. But some key tips you want to think about with your resume is, do you have your most recent experiences on there? If you are a current student of MATC, that should really be highlighted toward the top. So you'll want to make sure that your education is listed right under your skills and your professional summary. So you want to have that before your work experience to really indicate you are a student. And if your work experience doesn't necessarily align with your program of study, having this at top at least shows that employer, this is why, as I'm currently studying for this professional area. You'll always want to start with a professional summary, not an objective. Throughout the word objective, add professional summary, and really think about that as, here's where I am now, this is the job I'm applying to, and here's why I think I'm a good fit. So an example could be, I am a current MATC marketing student seeking a marketing internship to use my skills in social media strategy and using Canva software to create social media content to impact an organization. So again, where I am now, the role I'm applying to, and what skills I'm hoping to use in that experience. After that, you want to have a skills section that specifically lays out your skills, both any technical skills you have, like with certain technologies relative to your field, but also those essential workplace skills that are really transferable anywhere you go. Customer service, transferable through many industries, right? So if you feel like you provide excellent customer service, that could be a good one to put there. So you'll want to have that listed out, then the education, and from there you would go into your work history. So if you haven't done a deep dive lately on resume, that's okay. The packet's here for you, but that's really going to be critical to have in advance of the career fair. The other piece is your Handshake profile. As I shared earlier, Handshake is our online career platform. Most of you signed up in advance as I look at names through Handshake. So that's great news, is that you all are seeing that. But if you don't have your Handshake profile, really get that set up. Here's the link on the slide here. It's a free account to you. Every school, both 2 and 4 year in the state, use this platform, and about 60% of colleges and universities across the state use this platform. It is where employers are posting jobs for individuals that they know are attending or graduating from one of their partner schools. So rather than an Indeed where you might be competing with the masses, Handshake postings are designed to be sent to employers who are partnering with colleges and universities, and then you are competing against your classmates versus competing against the masses. So it's a great place to find information. It's also a great place to research companies and to stay up to date on career offerings like this one. Another resource I want to share with you as you prepare for the career fair is making sure that you check out our webpage, which again is here on the page, but Deanna can pop that in the chat as well. We have great resources there to connect with our team for any one-on-one services with resume, with searching for a job or internship through Handshake. So it's just a great resource to keep in your back pocket as you navigate through your career journey here at MATC. All right, so now shifting gears, as you look ahead to preparing for the fair and you have your purpose, right? You now know your purpose, you've thought about that. The next step is you really want to think about what questions you're going to ask the employers when you do come up to them. It's really important you have questions prepared and don't just put all the onus on them to fill the time when you come to their booth. You want to come there with an intention and some questions to ask them. A great place to research, again, is those Handshake profiles. Each employer has one with a description, with their website, student reviews of the company. So Handshake can be a great place to start and do your research on the company. And that can prompt questions as you do that research. You might be thinking certain things as you're reviewing that, and you can jot those down and ask those. The website is a great place to go, Glassdoor or the company's LinkedIn page. But really the point of these questions is to show that you have intentionality as you come to the fair, that you know what you're looking for, and that you're interested in that particular organization. Now, a lot of times students may feel a little overwhelmed by coming up with individualized questions for each company. So think about it in the way of like, what's something that you value that you'd want to ask each company? A great example of that is maybe you are a working parent and you really want to know if the company supports working parents. And so you prepare a question asking, are there any ways for working mothers or working fathers to connect with one another within the organization? Or additional things that you all consider as an organization for your staff that are working. This could uncover if they have employee resource groups, business resource groups, things of that nature. And maybe that's something you would find really valuable in the workplace. So that's how that question can help you as you're searching which companies to consider. So again, just one example there. Another great question, this is a good cheap question to ask every company, but can be very insightful, is, share with me what really drew you to this organization and what keeps you there. This could be great insight to their company culture, a little bit more about who they are as an organization that maybe you don't find on just a plain profile, but that employee perspective. So that can be a great question to prepare. But map those out, map out which companies you want to talk to, and then that way you go into the fair with a great strategy. And we're there to help you with that strategy to the day of. So next, we want to look at your elevator pitch. You have your questions, you have your purpose, you're heading in, you're feeling good. Are you ready to answer the question, tell me about yourself? Sometimes that can be an overwhelming question because we're like, how far do you want me to go back? Do you want me to tell you about my childhood, high school? Like, where are we headed? So think about your elevator pitch as an introduction to yourself that you could give if you were riding in an elevator with someone for 30 to 60 seconds. The key things you really want to focus on in your elevator pitch is obviously your name, give them your full name so that if they have your resume, they can recall who you were. Where you are now, right? I'm a current student at MATC. Maybe you're currently working and you feel like that's relevant to share as well. Where have you been? So what career experience do you have to date? Maybe it's full-time, maybe it's part-time, maybe it's volunteer-only experience. But sharing what experience you have to date and what your future goals are, right? So what this might look like, and I'm going to just do one for myself here. My name is Naomi Pollock. I am currently a manager in MATC's Career Hub. I have over 13 years of higher education experience between marketing, talent acquisition, admissions, and career services. And my goal is to obtain an advanced leadership position within higher education. It's short and sweet. I'm able to say that in a quick elevator ride, but it gives a lot of information about who I am, where I've been, and where I'd like to go. That really helps open up that conversation. So again, just capture what's on this slide, practice. I would encourage you to practice. It's a really important skill to have, that when someone asks you, and this will come up in the interview too, so having this ready for the career fair is kind of double dipping. You'll be able to also then use that when you're asked, tell me about yourself in an interview. So this is really critical to prepare that name, where I'm now, where I've been, what are my goals for the future. All right. So now you are purpose-driven, researched, you have your elevator pitch. Now you have to think about, okay, what am I going to wear? Career attire is really important to think about in advance and prepare in advance because your first impression can be lasting. And career attire, there are differences in opinion on exactly what to do based on industry, based on your field of study. But we're going to give you what I'd say are like playing it safe, right? Certainly in these forums, I've had questions about, well, what if I want to do this and that? My question back is always, what is your value? If presenting yourself in a certain way is not in alignment with what you value, then I wouldn't recommend that you do that. So I can dive into that more later if there are questions on that, but I'm giving you some safe career attire recommendations. So what to wear? Obviously wear things that fit appropriately. You don't want to wear something that's too big and you look sloppy, or too fitted and you look inappropriate. So you want to make sure that your clothes fit you appropriately, that they're nice and neat and clean, and that you're considering your industry. I always recommend dressing a level up from where you are applying. So for instance, let's say you're applying to a healthcare position that would typically wear scrubs every day, or a trades position where you typically are out in the field. It is perfectly fine in those situations to wear what would be considered like a business casual attire. So something like I have on today, where you have on a nice top, it's just clean, nice top, and then some slacks or a skirt, but not jeans. So that would be more business attire. And then obviously shoes to match that, right? So don't wear tennis shoes. If you're wearing, dress attire, you want your shoes to match that. On the flip side, what don't you want to wear? Really, again, like I mentioned, avoid wearing the jeans. You don't want to come across as too casual, even again, if you're applying to a trades position. I have been in a talent acquisition hiring role and never have I said, wow, that person was so overdressed. I have for sure said, wow, that person was so underdressed. So if you're thinking, where should I go with this? Better to dress up than down. T-shirts, definitely no t-shirts in that interview setting, or athletic attire. Jewelry, if you are going to wear jewelry, keeping it to a minimum, keeping it to small pieces that are not distracting, not huge accent necklaces that might, really distract from keeping an eye on you and hearing the words that you're saying. No tennis shoes. And then a really big one is be mindful of how much perfume or cologne that you wear. You never know if the person who is interviewing you has an allergy or a sensitivity, and you don't want to set that off because again, then they're thinking about that and they're not listening to you or hearing you. And that's really the point, is you want to be heard. You want that opportunity to make that impression. All right. So next step is you're off to the big career fair day. You've got your career attire, you're feeling good. What do you need to have in hand that day? You definitely want to make sure that you have those well-written resumes printed out and have a bunch of copies with you. You don't need any fancy paper. That's not necessary unless you're like a graphic design student and you want to show off your skill. Just plain white paper is fine. Just as long as they're clean copies, unfolded, that they're clean and unfolded, and maybe you put them in a folder or a Padfolio of some sort to keep them together and organized. A Padfolio or pad of paper is always helpful for those questions we talked about earlier. In the moment, it could be nerve-wracking. And while you might think that you've committed those questions to your memory, it's very possible that you are feeling like, oh, I'm frazzled in the moment, I can't think of my question. So it's okay to write that on the pad of paper that you have with you and open up to that and say, I did prepare a couple questions that I wanted to ask you today. That again shows off your research skills, but it allows you then to have a place to write down the response so that if you've met with several organizations, you can refer back to that and recall what they shared with you. Bring pens, multiples, extras. We'll have extras, but it's always good to have a couple so that if you are taking notes. And business cards if you have them. I know some people will have their own business cards, create it. And in the past, this has come up of, if I created my own business card that says I'm a student or what I'm currently doing professionally, is that okay to bring along? Absolutely. As long as that has your contact details. And again, your resume has your most recent snapshot of who you are, that is appropriate. It's really used so that they can get in contact with you. And then lastly, just practice that elevator pitch. Practice with a family member or friend, a significant other. You can always, practice here at the Career Hub, practice in the mirror if you even rather just be alone to do it. Just starting to feel comfortable with that. Here's who I am. Here's where I've been. Here's where my goals are and where I'd like to head. All right. So you've attended the fair, you've done all the things that we've talked about here today, but you are not done. You really want to make sure that you have followed up with everybody that you've connected to that day. So typically at the end of a conversation with an employer, they'll give you that next step. Hey, we're accepting applications currently through this date. You want to apply in Handshake, you want to apply online. So they'll give you that next step. So follow through on that. If that next step is to apply and that's what you're seeking, then please do that. Make sure that you have that follow through. That also then gives you a great opportunity when sending along a thank you to indicate that you have taken that action step in that thank you note that you send. So I'm skipping down a little bit on the slide, but sending a thank you, a lot of times I see this as individuals doing it as like a step, but not thinking about how impactful it can be. So just saying, thank you for speaking to me at the career fair, the end, doesn't provide a whole lot of value. Sure, that was sweet that you took the time to send that. You'll get some brownie points for that. But you really want to use that time to be intentional. Call back to them what skills that you have, where you're hoping to head if there is a specific position you applied to. Thank you for your time at the career fair today. I was really interested in that marketing intern position that we discussed. I went home immediately and applied to it. And I'm really excited for the potential opportunity to meet with you. As I shared when we connected, I feel like these skills that I possess in marketing would be a really great asset to your organization in this position. And I'm free to talk anytime at this number in this email. So I hope to hear from you soon. You're giving that thank you, but you're still letting them know I followed through and I'm really interested. So use that thank you to your advantage. Follow the employer on Handshake. So when I do the Handshake walkthrough shortly, I'll show you this feature. But in Handshake, you can follow companies. And if you follow them anytime they attend a career fair here, a workshop, if they post a new job or internship, you will get an alert to whatever email account you have on your Handshake. So you can put multiple email accounts on Handshake. You can put your GMATC, but also any personal accounts. And then you'll get those alerts and you don't have to go seeking them because they're already there for you and they'll just send them right to your inbox. Lastly, post-fair follow-up, you'll want to look at adding any contacts you have on your LinkedIn. So again, if you don't have a LinkedIn, it's something we highly recommend getting for professional networking and saving these professional connections in a place where you can refer back. But adding them here if you do have one, and then sending along that note when you add them, like, it was wonderful to meet you at the career fair. Thank you for sharing this opportunity. I applied and look forward to connecting. So again, that's just another way to share that thank you. And it's a resource that's used by, I would say, most all hiring and recruiting teams. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing that screen and I'm going to pull up my Handshake account and just walk you all through how to navigate to our career fair in Handshake and sign up for that fair, but then also see who's attending so that you can do some of that research that we talked about. Go ahead and share my screen. Deanna, I see your face. Can you shake your head if you can see my screen?
Can, thank you.
Thank you so much. All right. So when you log into Handshake, it will look something like this. This is my student account of Handshake. If you have not used it, I'm just going to make a plug for what's critical when you set up your Handshake account. So the critical pieces of your Handshake account will be established in your profile on the far right-hand side. So there'll be either just a plain avatar here or an image you uploaded. The two things I'd recommend are the My Profile and My Career Interests. If nothing else, fill out the My Profile and My Career Interest in Handshake. I'm going to open that up to just show you what that looks like. Under the My Profile section, you would put some information about your journey. Again, you could put a professional headshot. Plug for the Career Hub, we do have a photo booth here that you can take professional headshots, and we have that coming with us to the career fair, so you can take one there at the fair. You want to have your educational experience in here. So pretty much anything you would have had on your resume, you want in here. And then you can also attach I'm going to go down further. You can attach your resume under this Manage Documents. The first time in Handshake, you can start with attaching your resume and it will auto-populate your profile with what's on your resume. So again, great to start with a well-written resume because then it makes this step really easy. It will auto-populate. And then all you have to do is just read the information and make sure it looks good. The next one is the My Career Interests. This is going to allow Handshake to really work for you much like any streaming service would. So, if you're on Netflix or Hulu or any of those streaming services and you indicate, I like this, I didn't like this, I tend to watch a lot of these things, the platforms will start recommending things to you. Handshake does the same thing. So when they see from your career interest, this is their initial, okay, this is what this person likes. And as they see you start to work in the platform, it's going to narrow down even more and send you a digest via email. This is based on your career interest and your activity. Here are recommendations for jobs, for internships, for events. So it's really critical that you start with this so that it has some intel on how to best serve you. So what type of jobs you're looking for, again, you can check all or a few, how you feel Handshake could be most helpful to you, what options you're considering after you graduate, job roles. So again, as you go to a fair, you might see that there's different roles that you add in here, right? So maybe I learned that marketing specialist isn't the only title out there for someone in marketing. So as I learn those through going through career fairs, I might add to this. Where you're interested in living, the industry you're interested in working in, which there are many, what type of job function you would be most interested in, and then your date that you're expecting to graduate. Again, once you save that, it's going to work for you and you don't have to do as much sleuthing through the system. It will find those things and send them to you. So the next thing I'm going to go back to my home screen. The next thing I want to show you in Handshake is how do you find this career fair so that you can register and you can join us to do all the things you learned today. So you'll want to go ahead and go to the event section on this far left-hand side. And there are career fairs at your school section, so you could choose that. And it's going to bring up all the career fairs that this lovely office helps to organize. So we have our diversity career fair coming up in person on March 6th. At 11, from 11 to 2 in M605. So I'm going to click on it just so you can see all the details. It also shows you employers that will be in attendance. So you can see the full list of employers that will be there. You can see the logistics of the day. Again, we have some great information about preparing for the event, a workshop on sharpening your resume. And you would just click this little join event on the right-hand side to officially register. If you register and attend, we also raffle off prizes. So if that motivates you too, you have to register and attend. And then those that do, we put your name in a hat and we will be raffling off a Bluetooth speaker shower heads to attendees. Also now the research component, I wanted to share that piece with you all. So if you are registered, you hit join event and you want to start researching, you can do the see more employers on your event. And this will show you their profiles of the companies that are coming. So a brief description of who they are and their website so that you can then research a little bit more and be ready to have a conversation. So let's say you're super excited about Astronautics Corporation of America. That looks interesting. You can view the details of that company a little further. You can see the types of jobs they currently have posted. And then you can click further into their entire profile if that's not enough information for you. And now you have an overview of the company, reviews from other students that either here at other institutions that have either worked there or initiated that process of working there. You can see if they are interviewing for any particular positions currently. You can see their open jobs on the right-hand side. And this one doesn't have it, but typically if you scroll down on the left here, if they have what's called public staff records, you can see that too. That just means they're okay with you reaching out directly to that person to ask questions or to let them know you applied to a position. So this is a great resource to come to and do your research. And again, it links right to their website too. So you can also use the overview page to get the intel about their company and then go right to their webpage. So that is all I have for my walkthrough. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen. And with that being said, I would like to open it up to questions. So Deanna, if you could keep me on point and let me know where are we at with questions.
Yeah, we have some really great questions. So with resume and as it relates to putting education on your resume, what about certifications? Should we list those on our resume?
I'm sorry, say that one more time. I cut for whatever reason.
Yeah, no worries. This is relating to resumes. We have a few great questions for resume, career fair day, and handshake. So this particular question is, as it relates to education, what about certification? Should we list those on our resumes?
Absolutely, yes. And so, you know, depending on your industry, how you list those might vary. For instance, I have a coaching certification. I list that in the same category as I list my education. And I just delineate like this was a master's, this is a certification in that line item. Healthcare professionals, it's never a bad thing to have certifications actually listed separately, where you have your certifications as like a section of its own. So it might go professional summary, skills, certifications, education, clinical experiences. So that looks slightly different for those healthcare folks that might be on the call. And then if you have work experience above and beyond clinical experiences, that would kind of be that last category on your resume. So then now your whole resume looks really healthcare robust. Great question.
Next question regards to resume. I have a bachelor's degree in English. I'm enrolled in MATC's Human Resources program. I received the BA in 2016. Should I list that ahead of the associate degree in progress?
I love this question. Yes. So you do want to list, if you are looking to be a career changer or shifting careers, it doesn't hurt to put your most recent educational experience first, even if it is associates versus bachelor's, right? So having that associates listed first, anticipated graduation date is the language you want to use. So my anticipated graduation from this program is X. And then below that, I also have my bachelor's in this. Because that again is highlighting where I am at right now. And that's what you want at the very top.
Awesome. Next question is, I am seeking to apply for positions where I can use some of my transferable skills. Can you recommend how I might structure my elevator pitch and resume, given that I would not most likely be applying for jobs in my most recent career, which I've had for 30 years?
Oh, yes, this is the good one. And this happens a lot at MATC. The beauty of a technical college is we have a lot of adults coming to us and they're career changers. And so within that packet that Deanna had linked earlier in the presentation, we have what's called a skills functional format for your resume. That is really intentional because what it does is it calls out, again, your education and your professional summary and your skills are still right at the top. But rather than talking about your work experience in that reverse chronological order, we're going to do buckets of skills that you have that you're carrying forward. So maybe you are going from a business background to a healthcare background. But both of those have some type of customer facing responsibility, right? So then your bucket could be customer and patient services. And you talk about any time that you've had interactions where you have been a service person serving either a customer or a patient. So again, it shows like I have this skill set. It might not have been patients, it was customers, but I still provided exceptional service and I know how to do that. So that's how we'll do it is we'll do professional summary, skills, education, and then we'll do your professional experience skills sections where we group them by skill area. And at the very bottom, we do employment history. And rather than having bullet points for that employment history, we're just going to say, here's the name of the company, the title I had, and the years I was there. All the skills I gained in any of this work is above and highlighted up top. When you go into these settings, talk about your skills. There are so many transferable skills that we often don't think about. Communication, right? Can you write? Can you speak professionally? Can you critically think, problem solve? Are you able to work with diverse groups of people? Do you have exceptional service? Are you able to think through processes and improve upon them? Those are all skills you could get and use in various industries. So you want to highlight those first and foremost because they can go with you no matter what. Great question.
Great question. The next two questions relate to Career Fair Day. So there are going to be several companies during the fair. How can I create a general resume and not be very specific?
Yeah, yes, that's great because normally we do recommend you should update and just adjust slightly your resume for each job that you apply to. But obviously in a career fair setting, you may be meeting with multiple individuals. So I would say make your professional summary general in nature. So again, making sure that you can say, I'm a current MATC. I'm going to stick with my marketing because that was where I started today. So I'm a current marketing student at MATC seeking an internship opportunity to use these skills. I didn't say a specific position, but I did indicate I'm looking for an internship because that's really what they're going to want to know. Are you here looking for a job? Are you looking for an internship? Are you here to make professional connections? What are you here for? You could say as simple as I'm a marketing student at MATC, seeking to make professional connections to my industry and field of study. That's fine because it is just an event that you're attending. But certainly if you're applying to a particular position, you want to update that summary to align with the position that you're applying to. You might slightly adjust the skills that you're highlighting to align to that too. But again, that is expected, that you will have slight updates to that resume when you're applying to a particular position.
Awesome.
Right?
Next question, as it relates to Career Fair Day. If you are fully employed and going to the job fair to network and keep options open, is it all right to use your company's business card with your name on it?
Yes. Yes. On an application, they will say to you, right, like, can I contact your current employer? And in that case, you can say, no, please don't contact my current employer. But if you're comfortable and you feel fine with them calling the contact details on that business card and they're your personal contact details, that's great. The place where it can get dicey is if you have like a general line on your business card. Sometimes people have that. I have that. Our general office numbers on my business card. I don't want employers calling our general office number asking for me for employment. So just think about what details are actually on your card. If it's directly to you and you're comfortable with that phone call to your office and you're the only one triaging those calls, there's no problem with that.
Perfect. Next question, Handshake. Is the managed documents a good place to put the certifications that you have achieved in Handshake?
Absolutely. Yes, there are several document types you can choose there. The more documents you put there for yourself, the better. I do have a statistic that I should have shared earlier. 80% of students that have complete profiles on Handshake get outreach from an employer asking to meet with them without even having to do the legwork, right? So they just see your profile because they're searching the platform for certain credentials. So if you have a certification credential in there, that could pop up as they're doing their search on their end, and now they're going to reach out to you directly and ask for a connection. So it never is a problem to upload. If it's a professional document, a cover letter, a resume, a certification, go ahead and put it in there.
And our final question, it looks like, where can we find a recording of this session after it ends?
Absolutely. So we will have a recording on the Career Hub webpage. It will be available and you can see recorded content. There are past recordings there now. And so I think, Deanna, if you don't have that readily available, I can probably grab it and pop it into the chat. But that is where we will update that. Just give me a moment if you don't.
Yeah, go ahead and pop it.
Right. Wasn't expecting that one, so I didn't have it teed up. Any other questions as I'm looking for that I can feel that maybe have come up? You're welcome to unmute and ask directly, or again, put it in the chat. I am going to put our recordings page in the chat so that you all have that. Career Hub recordings. And typically within about 2 to 3 business days, our most recent recording will be placed in there. Anything else? All right. Well, thank you all so much for your time and attention today. I hope to see you all at the career fair. My lovely team will be there to help troubleshoot in the moment. So fear not if something comes back to you as you're walking in the door. We're here there to support you, so we can always help you on the sidelines. So look forward to seeing you all there. Thank you. Have a wonderful rest of your week.
Everyone.